The Light at the End of the Tunnel by Hayden Sorrentino. I was looking forward to my junior year of field hockey, and the normal anxiety of tryouts had just snuck up. I had finished my lacrosse season in the spring and was ready to get back on the field. I saw some of my friends waiting by the fence gate and ran up to them. The nerves were going through every vein in my body, and the feeling of throwing up was squirming up my throat. Eventually, we were led on the field, and it looked like seagulls running towards that one McDonald's fry in the mall parking lot. After we all had rushed onto the one corner of that field that had become the designated corner to get all of our stuff on, I sat down and began putting my cleats and shin guards on. It was hard because those long, thick socks were a little too tight. We began our typical warm-ups before every practice, even for tryouts. When I took those first steps of the warm-up lap, nothing felt better, and those nervous butterflies flew away. Stretches continued, which was followed by a little 3v2 drill. During this drill, I felt something that I have never felt before, a weird feeling in my right knee. I didn't think anything of this weird feeling and continued through the first day of tryouts. A good night's of sleep, and I was ready for day 2 of tryouts. This day started the same as last, and we began the tryouts the same way. As we are just getting started into the tryouts, the weird feeling turned into pain. This pain was shooting down my right leg fast. I still didn't think anything of this pain, and I ignored it, and that's exactly what I did. Ignoring it was probably the biggest mistake I made, and I didn't know that yet. I got through day 2 of tryouts and went home exhausted. Day 3 came around, and I was ready for it to be done. The nerves were replaced with more nerves, but they were no longer about tryouts, but about my knee. We started with some drills like each day prior, and I fell to the ground. I was in so much pain that my body couldn't handle it anymore. I sat down where my bag was and called my mom. She knew something was wrong because I never cried over pain. I went home that afternoon knowing something was seriously wrong and wondering what that meant for me. My dad made an appointment for me at the Illinois Bone and Joint to get my knee looked at. The nerves were kicking back in as we were walking to the door of the doctor. I did not want bad news. I would rather be called a wimp than have bad news. I sat in that room waiting for the doctor, which felt like an eternity of waiting. Eventually, he finally came in, and when he did, he just made me do those random movements and asked me a bunch of questions. Finally, he stated that he thinks I should get an MRI due to my knee being so swollen and purple. Yeah, did I mention? My knee was very swollen and purple? Anyway, the MRI was scheduled and it was only a couple days away, which meant a couple more days anxiously waiting to find out what is wrong with my knee. Before we leave, he tells me that no more physical activity and to limit my walking and standing time. Well, there goes field hockey, I think to myself. My MRI appointment came so fast, and I was ready to get this done with. Overall, my experience was a 10 out of 10. It was painless and went by super fast. We were told that we would have to schedule an appointment with my doctor to go over the test results. The next couple of days, I was left with this anxiety of whether or not I would be receiving good or bad news and what this meant for my field hockey season. When the time came, my mom and dad both decided to come with, which was already a questionable start since it was usually one or the other who came with to my doctor appointments. Never both. Once I was in that room, I dreadfully waited for the doctor to knock on the door. I knew something was wrong, and I was mentally preparing for bad news. Oh no. The time is here, and it is actually happening. He walked in with something under his arm, what appeared to be x-ray photos. He put them on those boards on the wall that light up so you can see the image. Those images were actually my MRI photographs, so that we could see my knee. The doctor stated that I had torn my medial meniscus and showed us on the image. My dad knows this kind of stuff, so of course he knew exactly what he was talking about, while I sat there mildly confused. After the doctor informed us of the tear and what that means for my knee, he got to the next steps for me. I would need surgery to repair the tear, and that would be followed by physical therapy. That day I had my first surgery scheduled, and it was only a week away from that day. I went to bed that day in total disbelief that I'd be getting surgery in a week. Surgery was a breeze, but man, did my knee hurt more and could have sworn they made it worse. The thing I was dreading next was getting my stitches out. Thinking about it now still makes me squirm. Once I started physical therapy and got my knee back to being moved around, it started feeling a lot better. Since I couldn't play field hockey, I became my team's manager, which they referred to me as the momager. This brought a lot of opportunities for me due to that leadership role. My coaches nominated me for the NCAA Leadership Conference that a community college near me held. My high school and a bunch of others in the area all came together as we attended this conference together. After all the worrying and all the anticipation of what was going to happen next, I could finally see it. I could see the light at the end of the tunnel.